Hey there, students. Hopefully, if you're watching this, you've already taken a look at my lecture on Romanticism. This is a continuation of that lecture. If you're an art buff or something like that, taking a course in art history, it'd be great to establish some context by looking at that lecture. But if you're only interested in the art, I'm going to be talking to you today about Romantic art. So, let's take a look at some stuff, shall we? 18th century art tended to be dominated by human subjects. For example, this is Jacques-Louis David's painting of Socrates. Now, Jacques-Louis David was a neoclassical painter, which was very popular in the 18th century, a result of the Enlightenment. This is the same guy that painted Napoleon, several pictures of him, the most noted being of Napoleon crossing the Alps. Also painted the death of Jean-Paul Marat. The Enlightenment was all about people, and the art of the Enlightenment was also all about people. Now, Romanticism is more about nature and landscapes. You can see here J.M.W. Turner's The Lake of Zug. You see here that the focal point here is not the people, they're very small. The focal point is the lake. And the focus of a lot of Romantic painting, which is about nature, which is about emotions, and that sort of thing. Now, the most noted Romantic painter was Caspar David Friedrich, who was a German Romantic landscape painter. Once in a while, he took a little time to chalk himself out a selfie. Let's take a look at a few of his works. The most noteworthy of Friedrich's works was the Wanderer Above the Sea of Fog. Now keep in mind here that you see a guy, alright? At the very center there is a man in this painting, but this guy is saying, look at what I'm looking at, alright? I want you to see what's in front of me. This is what matters. This is what's beautiful. You see the rocks, you see the fog, and this invites you to contemplate nature, Romantic style. Instead of contemplating people, we're so self-absorbed. Let's take a break from that and let's look at something natural. You can see here a moonrise over the sun. You see the lovely lady sitting on a rock. You see ships, but really they're all sort of a smaller part of this bigger landscape, this bigger beauty, and the moonrise. And that's what's really, when you look at the lighting in this painting, you see that the moonrise is the focal point, which makes everything else in the painting beautiful. Here are a man and a woman contemplating the moon, just sitting there thinking about the moon. What is that thing? Are there beings up there? Who knows, but it's fun to think about. And here is the morning. Now there's a guy in this painting, but he's very, very small. He's just sitting there in a boat, and you can see here, much like if you are out in some kind of natural setting and you have a big view and you start to think about how small you are in the context of all of this. And this is what Romantic art invites you to contemplate, is your smallness and nature's bigness. Here is a solitary tree. We don't even need human subjects here. Who needs a person when you've got a tree? Now, maybe there is a person over there, a shepherd or something. I don't know. Like, sometimes I feel like I'm playing Where's Waldo when I'm looking at Romantic art, because, like, is there a person there? And if so, where is he? It's kind of like a game. But if I were to ask, where's the tree? It's like, ha! There's the tree. All right, look at me. I'm so smart. I could play this game. But you see this tree in front of this mountain range. You see the plain. Everything about this is beautiful. And the beauty of nature, the beauty of emotion, and all that kind of stuff is what Romantic art expresses. Now, another guy here was Karl Friedrich Schinkel. Now, Schinkel was a Prussian painter turned architect. In fact, he painted a bunch of stuff, which I think is pretty good. And then he saw Caspar David Friedrich's Wander Above the Sea of Fog, and he's thinking, I could never top that. I'm going to go make buildings. Excuse me. So we're going to look at some of his paintings and then some of his architectural work as well. Schinkel is responsible for the development of Gothic Revival architecture. Keep in mind that this is architecture which is based on the Gothic architecture of the Middle Ages. Keep in mind, as I noted in my lecture on Romanticism, that Romantics love the Middle Ages. So you're going to see that in Romantic art as well. Here is a gate in the rocks. Now, once again, oh, there are the people. Very, very small. There's a bell, but really you're looking through this rock formation and you're looking at the sky and the beauty of that. Once again, contemplating the beauty of nature. Now, we see here the morning, the sunrise. We see some people, and really in particular, what I find very romantic is the center here. You see the children playing. And remember that childhood's another thing that was glorified by the Romantics, that these children are out playing, they're enjoying childhood, they're enjoying their innocence. Here is a medieval town by water. Now you take nature and you take the Middle Ages, okay? This is one of those things where, yeah, this is very, very, very romantic. Then there is the Friedrich... Sorry, I'm trying to speak German here. I'm not that good at it. The Friedrichswerder Church in Berlin. This is a Gothic Revival building. And you can see here the vaulted ceilings. Here is a picture looking up at this thing. And it's pretty magnificent. And it's very beautiful, very throwback, very medieval, okay? And that's really, remember what the Romantics are about, is a backward-looking sort of mentality. So let's bring back the Middle Ages in our architecture. And finally, let's take a look at a few British Romantic artists. First of all, J.M.W. Turner. We already looked at his Lake of Zug, but this guy was another landscape painter. He's from England, a very prolific producer. 550 oil paintings, 2,000, upwards of 2,000 watercolors. So you can find a lot of these online. And of course, he took some time now and then to paint a selfie as well. And the most famous of Turner's paintings is the Slave Ship from 1840. Now, what you can see here is, of course, the slave ship, but the slave ship is kind of in the background there. What's really there is the storm. Now, keep in mind that this brings in all kinds of different romantic themes, because Romantics contemplated the triumph of nature over man. And here is a certain type of ship, something that is carrying a cargo that is very unnatural, carrying something that is wrong and immoral, and bringing these slaves against their will to the new world to be human chattel. And here comes nature, the hero. Bam! Ah, gotcha! Look at this. Everybody's drowning, and it's like nature or nature's God that's just taking out their frustration on humanity for this wrongness, this unnatural wrongness that they're trying to do. So you see here the triumph of nature and the avenging of a wrong all at the same time. Then there's William Blake. You remember the poet who wrote about the dark, satanic mills of the Industrial Revolution. Now, when he wasn't writing poetry, William Blake was painting some really trippy stuff, okay? Let me show you this. Here is the Descent of Peace. Keep in mind that Romantics tended to be mystical and religious. There are religious undertones in William Blake's poetry, and here you see the birth of Jesus Christ, idealized. You see this upside down angel, then there's like another angel that's there, and is the angel topless? I can't tell. This is just very bizarre. I mean, now even more bizarre is this next one. Now, this was one of many paintings from William Blake's Great Red Dragon paintings. Now, this is from the Book of Revelation. So all kinds of things about this red dragon that appears in the Book of Revelation. And here is the woman that is clothed in the sun, and she is fighting this dragon, I guess. Once again, really trippy art, which even this was before drugs, I guess, which When were drugs invented? I'm not sure. If somebody could comment and get back to me on that, I would appreciate knowing. I'm not sure if this guy was on drugs or what, or if he was just that creative. Who knows? Then finally, there's Eugene Delacroix, if I'm saying his name right. Delacroix, whatever. I don't speak foreign languages very well. Those of you that watch my videos often know that. Luckily, you're probably preparing for a written test, so if you're saying Delacroix, that's fine for purposes of the test. You'll probably get laughed at if you go around saying Delacroix. But anyway, one of the most famous Romantic paintings was painted by Eugene Delacroix, a French Romantic painter, and this is Liberty Leading the People. Now, this has Romantic themes as well as nationalist themes, which keep in mind that nationalists and Romantics often played very well together. Now, you see liberty is idealized with the French flag. You can see that she is topless to add a little extra oomph. Just for some reason, that just makes art more appealing to some people. Now, then you have these people who are engaged in acts of violence, and these acts of violence are being romanticized, okay? They're made to look heroic. It looks like some guy dressed like a pirate, and then there's Abe Lincoln shows up all of a sudden with a gun, and he's like, hey, who do I shoot next, or something. You look over here at this guy, and he's just like, or, gal, who is that? I mean, this person here is just like, oh, breasts, and just looking, and that's not really nice to stare at somebody like that. And then there are dead people, but I guess they died for a good cause. And then my favorite, this boy here who's got his twin pistols, and he's like, oh, look, I can play too. That sort of thing, okay? I mean, I just find it kind of funny. Like today, it's like, yeah, kids aren't supposed to run around with guns like that, but this is romanticized. This is beautiful. Even the kids can play at revolutions. Romantics don't really think about responsibility. In fact, Romanticism is all about indulging your emotions and looking at the beautiful and all that kind of stuff. Who's got time for responsibility and factories and all of that kind of progress nonsense? So anyway, Romantic art is beautiful. It's based on landscapes, glorifies emotions, childhood, brings in the Middle Ages. Basically, it is Romanticism put to canvas or whatever kind of art surface they're using. So hopefully that wraps us up about Romanticism, and you're ready for whatever quiz or test or exam you're preparing for on Romantic art. Keep in mind that I've got lots more of these lectures where this came from. Feel free to subscribe, okay? Would love to see you watch more of these videos. Check out my website, www.tomrichey.net. Got lots of PowerPoints, other materials there that you can look at. And look forward to seeing you again in another lecture. Until next time.